for bone marrow butter.
Yeah.
So you're taking the frozen bones out of the freezer and putting them directly onto a sheet pan. And then we're going to cook it at 350 degrees for 8 to 10 minutes. You're going to check it at around 8. And then if it's still a little bit raw there in the center, you'll see you know, kind of like a light reddish purple kind of on the center. Just cook it for another additional minute or two, just to get that kind of out of there, and then you should be good. So 10 minutes at 350 degrees. Okay, so it's been 10 minutes for the bone marrow cooking at 350 degrees. So as you can see, it's almost like the consistency of butter. It's almost like the consistency of butter. And you have to be careful not to cook it too much. What we're going to do now, we're going to scoop it out. You can see it makes a little like that's 10 minutes at 350 degrees. These are the 0820 Interbay brand that we're buying. And they're going to be about 8 inches, 8 to 9 inches. Pretty good. So removing the bone marrow from the pan. Put it in something a little cooler. Hotel pan. Just so it doesn't continue to cook and melt the bone marrow. So once it's cooled, it's kind of like a butter as it just pushes out. You got to be careful that there's no bones. You can use a spoon as well to get the harder places out, like right here. Now I can hear it kind of grinding a little bit right there, so there might be some bones in that area, so I'm going to go through that little piece. I'm going to do another one. You can see it's kind of like butter, like wax almost. So I was kind of grinding through the bone there, so I might check that piece. So to check it, you would just kind of put your fingers through, kind of like when you're cleaning any kind of pork meat like duck or chicken off the bone. Just kind of press your fingers in there. And if you kind of feel a stabbing sensation, well, that's a bone, like right there. I felt the stabbing sensation and I found a bone. Something right there. Yep, it's a piece of the bone. Something right there. One piece of the bone. So as you can see, or you can just be a little bit gentler and just kind of go through it with your fingers. If you don't want to use a spoon, you're welcome to use your fingers, but just be careful because you might cut your finger on the bone. You just kind of go easy. Just take it easy. Getting a bone splinter is not a great thing to feel. Plus you could get infected. It's kind of like getting bit by a jaguar. What? Let's see. So there's a lot of bone in this area right here. So I'm just going to be real gentle, kind of push it through. Probably good. Doesn't feel like anything. So that's good. Basically, so just kind of, always make sure that you go through it one time to make sure there's no bones, because that's the last thing we want to do, is eat a bone. Está bien. Thank you. And at the same time, what you're doing is you're mashing it. It's going to help incorporate into the butter better. So by using my fingers, and I'm just squeezing that marrow, and mashing it, and at the same time you're also feeling for bones. Pretty sure I got most of them out, but now really what I'm doing is I'm mashing the marrow. Okay, now it's fairly well mashed. You're going to see small little pieces about this big of marrow. About that big of marrow right on the tip of my tongue. That's okay, because what that's going to happen is it's going to melt when it's on the steak. So now we're good. And then we're going to incorporate the marrow into the butter. You're going to need a spatula for sure. Okay, you can press stop. Yeah. So that's the finished product. It's all been incorporated with the butter. It's just like any butter that we make. And we're going to be spreading that on the steak. Just keep in mind that it says it on the recipe, but just keep in mind that this does have meat in it, so we got to keep it somewhat cool. So it's okay to keep it out for service for a couple hours here and there, but I recommend at the end of the night to put it away. Granted, it's in butter, which is a preservative, and it should be good for a few hours out in service. But at the end of the night, just make sure you refrigerate it. And then in between service times when you're closing, if you're closing, to put it back in the refrigerator. That's it. Thanks a lot.